everybody. I guess you can tell by the color that I'm wearing and the chair that I'm sitting in and the blues playing that we will be speaking about entrepreneur blues today. So, Mark, who was that song? Who was playing that?
That was John Coltrane. John Coltrane is actually from the North Carolina area, originally from, I believe, Rocky Mount and all of that. And apparently, that song was composed in Durham. So it was actually composed many decades ago. And apparently, it involved a North Carolina mutual as well as a whole conversation around one of the musicians and two young ladies. So then, as a way to calm both of them down, he wrote that song. So that
Okay, that's a nice story. It's always nice to hear the story behind the blues. So we're back. I'm smiling because I don't want you to be too discouraged, okay? It happens to the best of us. Uh, Going through a hard time managing finances, um, even our personal finances. I mean, you can have a steady income and it still be difficult. But think about it. You're coming into $100,000 or more, sometimes close to $500,000. I mean, that's a lot of money to handle for the first time, um, even if it's your second time. And then you have to worry about how to stay on budget, project and see where the budget is going far enough in advance to make sure that you have enough to make it to the end of the project with money still in the budget. At the same time, if this is your only way of making an income by doing these projects or rehabs or any type of project, if this is your only way, then you do not have a job that gives you a steady income. So now you're having to figure out how to eat while you wait, sometimes anywhere between 90, it could be like 90 days, 6 months, until you see your first payday. That's a long time to go without a steady income. You taken all your money and invested it into the project, and now you're expecting a profit and a return to help you rebuild your wealth, and it doesn't show up on time. And that will put you in a situation where, whew, and I've been there, y'all, not sitting here being judgmental. I'm not sitting here trying to make you feel bad, but managing the finances of a project is very difficult. So let's get into it. Let's talk about some options you may have as far as helping you manage the project. And then we're going to talk about individual versus team. So first of all, let's start out with an individual because it's usually easier. I mean, it's just you. You get the loan, they fund it, you get in the draws are coming directly into your business bank account, not your personal, but your business bank account. And what needs to happen is that money that you're receiving to fund your project needs to be in a separate account. That account needs to have a checkbook and a debit card. Then you need to set up an Excel spreadsheet, and you need an envelope in your car with the project's name on it so that you can put all of your receipts, little notes, reminders, anything in this envelope, because during the day you're too busy. You're not going to stop and organize. So if you put everything in one place, when it's time to get out the car, you snatch it, get out the car, go to your desk, you have everything in front of you. Also, don't forget taking pictures of things snapshots of receipts, snapshots of invoices, and you have that on your phone as well that you can print off later or email it to someone. So now you have some tools available to you. You have your Excel spreadsheet, and the Excel spreadsheet you will enter your daily um, expenses, your gas, because you want to know everything that you're spending: gas, materials, labor, food, anything, everything that you needs to go in this Excel spreadsheet. At the same time, you need to have a line that gives you how much money you have to work with. So withdrawals, it usually comes in as you finish a certain section of the project or a certain amount of the project. So if you have $1,000 to do 5 line items, and you know that you have the money for the 5 line items, but at the same time, you're going to need gas, or maybe you're going to need a gadget to finish the project or whatever, you need to add that in there. You want to make sure that you're not spending $1,500, even though you've been given $1,000, because what's going to happen is that $500 for the first draw, $1,000 for the second, at the end of the project, it wasn't a realistic expense account, or a notation of all the expenses, and you end up in the negative. And that's what you don't want to happen. So then you have your bank account that you're using for all of your charges. To pay your vendors, you should be paying them by check. Or you can be paying them online with the credit card through an invoice online. Or buying materials, you should be using the card to buy materials. If for some reason you are paying yourself, then you need to write a check to yourself out of that account and put that check into your personal account, because you could be the, let's say, project manager or the GC of your job, and so you're paying yourself while the job's happening because this is your only income, which is very smart. In my opinion, it's smart, but you guys do it the way you want. This is if you're depending on this project to supply food and utilities to your house until it sells. Okay, so now you have your bank account, you have your debit card, you have your checkbook, and you are using just that account to make all of your expenses, to pay for all of your expenses for your project. Then you have your Excel spreadsheet. Your Excel spreadsheet is matching what is on your bank statement. In the same time, if your investor does decide that they want to see, an account of the expenses and the expenditures, you can, put all that together and show them, and it's right there in front of you. And it is going to save you a heck of a lot of blues if you do it this way. You do not need expensive software. All you need is an idea, a plan, something to look at, something that you can input information into and monitor the amounts and the spending. I like Excel spreadsheets, but you can do whatever. If you have it set up in your QuickBooks that way, definitely use QuickBooks or whatever other accounting system you're using. Okay, so that's one way as far as managing the expense. Now, if you have a team, and let's say the money is coming directly to just one team member because maybe the loan is in their name, you're still, as a partner, need to be responsible, need to be aware of how the partner is spending the money for the team. And the partner should also be very willing to be transparent and show you where the money is being spent for the team. There needs to be complete communication So at this particular point, again, you have a checking account, but maybe the checking, debit, and everything just belongs to that one partner, the one who is receiving the draws from the bank. But of course, they may not want to give you their username and password to their bank account. You never know. They may be okay with it if that's all they have and you two are looking at it. But let's say, for the sake of argument, that they do not want to give you username and password so you can see the bank statements and know how the card is being swiped and the checks are being written. At that particular point, what you use is a Google Docs spreadsheet, and it's live, and both parties can look at it, and all information needs to be put inside of that daily: expenses, checks written, the check number. The person who has access to the account will be able to see that spreadsheet and that bank account match up. They may be willing to show you that, and share that with you, print it off and share it or email it to you. But if they do not, it's okay. You're having a conversation about the money and everybody is staying on the same page. You should know, and I'm trying not to get emotional because I'm telling you, when I say I almost lost my everything behind not knowing this, there was no blueprint. I had absolutely no one to turn to. And the people that did know it were not willing to share, at least not with me when I asked. I mean, sometimes people make you feel pretty dumb when you ask questions about money, like, oh, why are you doing this if you don't even know it? Or go to YouTube or Bigger Pockets or something like that. But, this is we need some real life understanding of this, because the impact of it it can destroy your business. It can destroy any future opportunities. It can destroy your household. It can destroy your family. So it is important that you have a plan, a financial plan, a financial budget, a really detailed budget before you start your project. So now you have your tools that you need to manage the project. You have your separate bank account, you have your debit card, your checkbook, you have an Excel spreadsheet, you have your envelope with all the receipts stuffed in it so that you know to go 5 minutes every night or 1 hour every week and type in everything that has been spent and start to watch the money. You should know whether you're going to have enough money halfway through the project, if not earlier. So you have your original budget from when you first get your loan, but then you have an actual budget of what you're spending. You need to see that comparison, side-by-side comparison. So let's say you have $1,000 budget for doors, okay, and but then you put 1,000 for doors, and then the material comes up to $1,000. Then you have to turn around and pay for the labor of the doors, so another $1,000. And guys, don't hold me to these numbers. Don't say, oh, those must be North Carolina numbers. I am just literally just using easy numbers because I'm not a mathematician. So if I don't have a calculator, $1,000 always sounds easy to handle for me. So now you're looking at the projected budget was 1,000, but the actual spending was 2. So now you know that you have $1,000 extra that you need to figure out somewhere else in that budget. Where are you going to get that $1,000 from? This is so important. Like, if you go ahead and say, okay, $1,000 for doors, and then you buy the doors are $1,000, but then you don't have doorknobs, you don't have hinges, you don't have door stops, and you don't have the labor put in. Now you're going more in $2,000, over the budget. And so the more detailed you can make your budget line items, then the better off you'll be. I'm talking light bulbs, door stops, uh, let's see, outlet covers, count your outlet covers. Don't forget your cable. Don't forget the little telephone ones on the wall. You want to account for everything if you possibly can. Yes, it is very anal. Yes, I understand this is crazy, but it's necessary. It's necessary. It will help you a lot. Make sure you budget for the end of the project, your staging. Make sure you budget for the letters that are the numbers that go on the front door, the exterior light fixtures, the doormat, the little door knocker or door, what do you call that? Peephole that goes in the door. Budget these little tiny things, $30, $7, $15, they add up. They add up. And if you have $0 left in the budget, now you're digging into your personal finances to try to put things on the market. Photography, landscaping, talk to a landscaper, have them come out and look at the property prior to you doing it. Tell them what your idea is. Let them give you a quote. I mean, prices for mulch and stuff don't really go up that high in the wintertime. They do spike up around the summertime, but get an idea. Because if you're only budgeting $500 for landscaping and you have a landscaper come out at the end of the project and he says $900, come on. I mean, and you're already over budget. This is, to say this is painful. It's painful. And even the best of us can feel like we're failing when these things happen to us in business. And then it's hard to talk about it to people because it's embarrassing. I mean, we all get embarrassed. Everybody wants to look like a star. All you got to do is look at Facebook. Everybody putting all this great stuff about, they're not putting the dirt. They're not dropping the tea about what's really going on in their life. Everybody's shining like a real star. And this is what we want to, as human beings, present to the world. But there's the down and dirty part. And sometimes we need to be vulnerable and transparent and get help and talk to someone. And so find you someone that you can talk to if you're in a bind before it gets out of hand. Or if you messed up, you can openly tell them that you messed up and they won't judge you. They probably won't lend you any money. They'll probably, but at least you got an ear that'll listen to you and a heart that'll feel your pain and show some empathy towards you. But that's probably most of the, I'm going to tell you, ain't nobody digging in their pocket. So they're like, oh, you already failed with this project. I'm not going to throw more good money after bad money. A lot of times they do not offer to help. Sometimes they do, but sometimes they don't. So that's the truth of it. So now we've talked about on the job or on the project, managing the budget, a couple of options on how to do it. Even if you're an electrician, you have to have the money up front to buy the materials to do the job and then get paid and reimburse yourself, re-up your working capital and separate your profit from your working capital so that on the next job, you're not, as a subcontractor, you're not standing there begging for a deposit. Because we all know from watching the video with Chris that, we can really stop all of that deposit up front stuff. It almost came out. We can really stop all of that. If you're in business, you need to be able to provide the materials. I'm sorry. If the owner is providing the materials, you need to be able to have enough money to begin your project until you finish and complete it and get payment in full. I mean, that's the sign of a professional. Taking your mind from being skilled and having grit and tenacity and hustle to the boardroom where you're doing administrative work, financial work, um, you are projecting, you are speculating, you are making good decisions about the business part. You have to combine these things. It can't be one or the other. And if you cannot do it, find you a partner who can. Okay? So if you have any questions, you have my instant message me. This is recorded, obviously. It's not actually live. But if you type in your questions at the bottom as the recording is being played on the live, I will be watching and I will try to answer you. Just, keep it clean, everybody. Be nice. And it needs to be really good business questions. We all need to learn from each other. And I think that's what this program, Entrepreneur Pinks and Blues, is all about. I want to thank you for taking the time to listen to me. I hope this was helpful. I did use some examples from things, and only the people who know that I'm using the example will know what I'm talking about directly, but it is definitely true life information. So think about it if you don't actually do it. All right. All right, you guys, have a great weekend.